Welcome to a special edition of Taking Stock. I'm Amanda Lang. Coming up, we're in conversation with Heather Reisman, entrepreneur, business leader, and philanthropist, best known as the founder of Indigo. That's still to come, but before we get to that conversation about the business that Heather Reisman created and runs, here's what you need to know. Reisman founded Indigo 27 years ago, and the first store opened in Burlington, Ontario in September 1997. 4 years later, Indigo acquired Chapters, and with it, the Kohl's chain of bookstores, becoming the largest bookstore in Canada. In 2014, Indigo announced a strategic shift to include non-book sales as a growing part of its overall revenue mix. Reisman founded For the Love of Reading in 2004, a literacy charity that sends $1.5 million to schools across Canada every year. In 2009, she co-founded Kobo, which became the best-selling e-reader in Canada before it was sold to a Japanese firm in 2011. By year-end 2022, Indigo's sales had surpassed $1 billion, and its profit was $32.5 million. That was a year that saw Reisman step back from the business she founded, only to return as CEO in September 2023. Heather Reisman joins us now. Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure.
I think we better start with your return to Indigo. You had stepped back. It looked like part of a succession to executive chair and out the door next. Here you are. What happened?
Well, let me put it this way. So many people have come to me over the years to say, would I like to write a book about my journey? And I never felt inclined to do it. But man, when I find the time, I have a book to write about all the things I've learned about succession. And I suspect there are others who would join me in trying to articulate the difficulty. On a more serious note, it was an intention to have succession, absolutely. And it turns out succession is really hard. And especially when it's succession in a brand that is so deeply embedded in the hearts of Canadians. And in my own heart, obviously as the founder. And I think that's the first thing I would say about this. Why am I back? I'm back because notwithstanding everybody's best intentions, Indigo took a journey off-brand. That's what I would say. Mm-hmm. Everyone was doing their best. I was doing my best on succession. The leadership I brought in, of course, came to do the best that he could do. But the net result is we lost sight of who we are and what our commitment is to customers. And this is so incredibly important to me, not just as the founder, but because we have a commitment to the entire publishing industry, the writers in this country, and the millions of Canadians who for 25 years have said Indigo is their happy place.
How did you see it? When did you know it was drifting off brand and that this wasn't working?
Yeah, that's the perfect question and the perfect entry into the whole saga, if I could call it. It was little bits, dribs and drabs. Let's try this, let's do that. And when you are trying to effect a successful succession, one of the things that is important is that you stand back and you create room for somebody. Mm-hmm. If that partnership has been deeply developed, perhaps it's easier. But in my case, it was with someone who came, albeit with a great reputation, from the outside. And so it was in dribs and drabs. Suddenly I was hearing that we were, getting famous for selling $550 barbecues. Well, no, that is not who we are, and it's not what we're getting famous for, neither in price nor in event. It's not a big secret that there was a little moment when somehow vibrators turned up in our stores. And I remember being just like, no, that's not who we are. And it was dribs and drabs, and suddenly I would walk into our stores, and this was after I was pretty pulled back, and said, this really isn't Indigo. And the customers knew and know. And so it was both clearly taking the business in the wrong direction and mm-hmm. financially very much showing. And so it was time to make a decision. I could have said, let me just sell the business. We'd been approached, but I couldn't.
It matters too much to you.
It matters to me, and I think it matters to everybody in this industry. I was entrusted and now I owe something back.
So bottom line on the book, on what you learned, you still have, this still is in front of you, Heather. Presumably
Yes.
you won't work until you're 190. You will have to pass the torch of this business you love.
Yes.
What did you learn? What's the most important thing you take away?
The person who takes this has to feel the brand in every inch. Our mission is to inspire reading and support our customers, to give our customers the most enjoyment in their life. That's what we are here to do, to add joy to their lives. So whoever comes has to understand that we are, at our heart and soul and the core, is about the books, the stories, the writers. And I was the first one to introduce additional product, and we still will have the right additional product. But we are about inspiring reading and enriching the lives of our customers. That's it. That's the mission. Inspire reading and enrich the lives of our customers.
Does it need to be somebody who's already there? Does it need to be an internal hire?
It probably is going to be someone from the inside. But, you know, I've talked to people who feel this in their soul. They're not available to be CEO. That's the key thing. They have to feel this in their soul.
Yeah.
And, you know, that, Amanda, is one of the interesting things. I so took for granted what I felt in my soul that in the decision-making, I didn't externalize it. So you check the box on all the talent the person has, but I missed it, and it's on me.
Does it need to be a Canadian? It's a truly Canadian brand, despite the fact that it could be international. It's a very global kind of a business.
Yeah.
But does it matter that it's a Canadian?
Well, you know, I don't think it has to be Canadian in the sense that I was fortunate enough to recruit to our board, and now the chairman of the board, a man named Marcus Dole, who until recently was the worldwide head of Penguin Random House. He is now the chair of our company. We have known each other for 18 years in this business. Marcus could run this business. He's not signing up for that, I just want to say. But Marcus could run this business because books and stories and authors and the culture that comes from that is in every bone in his body. And that's what it's about.
Do you feel today that Indigo is back on track, that it's back on the right?
No, I've been back for 3 weeks and 3 days. I was gone formally for over a year and informally for 2.5 years, in the sense that I was pulling back and not able to influence things. We will have a year-long journey. We will do this with our customers. The customers will see step by step that the core of this business is going to come back as quickly as I can move it. Books will move to the center. You know, if I can do a little plug, we're going to open a new store at the Well in a few weeks.
In Toronto?
In Toronto. It was on its way to looking one way. We made some changes in the last couple of weeks. And I think when that store opens, book lovers will say, wow, Indigo is back. Now we have to make that happen all across our stores, online, all across online, in every email, on social. So this is a big job. It's going to be hard work. And to your question, I'm not going to do this forever. I will only tell you this. My mother lived to 100. I have a lot of energy for this business, and for sure, I am here for a good number of years.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, more of our conversation with the founder and CEO of Indigo, including what success looks like for Indigo in a rapidly changing world. Stay with us.